Now that my 6-year pre-med journey has officially come to an end, I wanted to take this time as a now medical student to reflect back on my pre-med experiences and ultimately answer the question, is work-life balance realistic as a pre-med student? I also want to share some mistakes that I made as far as balancing life as a pre-med student and give you guys some insight on what mistakes to avoid during your journey. So let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on this video. For those who may be new to my channel, my name is Terence and I'm a first-year medical student. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoy these videos. I'll be putting out weekly videos just like this one every single week, so make sure you come along for the journey. If you're a pre-med student right now undergoing that serious grind, or you're a medical student, you understand that when it comes to applying and being competitive for medical school, you feel like you have to do everything under the sun in order to stand out and be different, whether that's excelling in your extracurricular activities and your prerequisite courses and being a leader and doing volunteer experiences and doing shadowing and doing healthcare experiences, not to mention if you have to work or have a job or hold down a job in order to pay for your college tuition. There are so many things that you have to do and you have to balance in order to be successful as a pre-med student. And sometimes finding that work-life balance can be a struggle. From my personal experience, my pre-med years were nothing short of a grind, and I've made plenty of mistakes when it came to balancing life and even let, in certain occasions, my drive and my will to become a medical student overcome me. I can tell you from when I first started and first came along this journey, it was my sophomore year of my undergraduate schooling, and that's when I really decided I wanted to become a doctor. And from that moment on, I knew that something had to switch. I knew I had to really zone in and make a lot more sacrifices in order to get the grades that I wanted and fill in all the extracurricular things that I wanted in order to be successful in the medical school application cycle. And just knowing how competitive it is to get into medical school and just seeing the sheer numbers of people that apply each year and the sheer numbers of people that get accepted, I put a lot of pressure on myself in order to get to my goal and achieve my goal. I knew I had to give it everything I had, and I knew that I couldn't make certain mistakes more than once because it would lead me to be delayed in my process. So it was all a balancing act and all about time management and all about balance. I remember when I had the most things on my plate, I was doing my prerequisite courses, I was doing volunteering, I was doing work on the side, I worked as a personal trainer. The beauty of that was it allowed me to be flexible in my hours. So those of you guys that don't know, as a personal trainer, you typically are working based on when your clients are there. So it's not like a clock in, clock out job. If you have a client scheduled for 12 to 1, you have to be at the gym from 12 to 1. Other than that, you don't have to be at the gym really that much unless you're doing some recruitment or office hours, but that's beside the point. So I had flexible hours for my work, and I also had to do, extracurriculars, do shadowing, healthcare experience, different things like that during my semesters and during my summers. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, and it was pretty much me taking a Google Calendar and taking an agenda and filling in every single hour, every single space of time. And balancing all that stuff was for sure the most challenging part of being a pre-med student. I would say there's two categories of things. There are the things that you're mandated to do by the prerequisite requirements, like your prerequisite courses, and then there are other things that you don't necessarily have to do but are recommended by many medical school admissions committees. So the things that you have to do are the things that you have to kind of put on that mindset of delayed gratification. You're not going to always like every single prerequisite course that you take. You're not always going to like and enjoy every single professor that you have, but those are the things that you have to say, I got to get through it, I got to do it. And those are the things that if you don't balance that properly, that's when it becomes a challenge to maintain work-life balance. The other things are what you can potentially do to maintain that balance. In college, I didn't do much partying. I didn't do much socializing as far as outside of school. I didn't really find fulfillment in partying. I didn't really find fulfillment in going out personally. And I also spent a lot of my weekends doing a lot of that studying and doing a lot of that work. So what I did was I used a lot of my extracurricular activities to gain that fulfillment and gain that balance. So I would do my part-time work as a personal trainer. That's something I felt that really gave me the ability to work, make some money, but also gave me fulfillment. Working with people that have health diseases such as osteoarthritis, diabetes, cardiovascular issues, obesity, people that are going through challenging times like that, I use that as an opportunity to really help them and gain some fulfillment and gain some satisfaction and gratification from my personal training job. I also found time to play basketball with my friends if I had some downtime. I also made time to exercise and work out. During certain things that gave me personal fulfillment that allowed me to balance all those prerequisite required things. You should definitely try your very, very best to find at least one or two things in your life that you can rely on and you can fall back on, whether that's extracurricular activity, a hobby, a club, that helps you balance all that grit and all that hard work and work ethic that goes into your prerequisite requirement courses. The next thing I'll touch on briefly is what to do for your MCAT. I took the MCAT twice, and the first time I took it, it was during my semester, so I was studying during my semester. Strictly grind, nothing else. The second time I took it, it was a 3 to 4 month block of time where I was studying strictly MCAT. Again, all grind. And the mistakes I made with the MCAT were some of my most regrettable mistakes because I didn't take time to balance. I didn't take time to think about anything other than the MCAT. And when you're studying 50 to 60 hours a week, strictly MCAT, your head goes crazy. You get burnt out and you get tired and you feel like you don't really want to do this anymore. And having that questioning and questioning whether you want to go to medical school because you're under so much stress and under so much pressure, not only from yourself, but external factors as well. It's important to have that balance. It's important to understand that you have to select time out to satisfy yourself and give yourself that gratification. So when I was doing my MCAT studying, it was strictly grind, and that's one of the biggest mistakes I say to avoid. And last thing I will touch on is my gap year. So the gap year is really when I told myself, take a foot off the pedal. So although I was doing clinical research and I was getting a lot of different experiences and I was working 9 to 5, 40 hours full time every week, I was also using this as an opportunity to take my foot off the pedal, do a lot of the things that I was neglecting in the past, spend a lot of time with friends and family, travel more, also do certain activities and start up things like YouTube that I've been pushing off in undergrad or didn't necessarily have the time to do. So different passion projects like that. I use my gap year to really gain that love for medicine again and gain that love for the things I love to do and for my personal passions. I would say that that's a good idea, but I would avoid the mistake of saying that once I finish undergrad, once I grind through undergrad, I'll reap the benefits at the end during my gap year. Although this can be true and it can be a very valuable mindset because it helps you get through that grind of undergrad, I would say implement a lot of those stress relievers, implement a lot of that gratification during undergrad if you can, to avoid the mistakes that I had as far as feeling burnt out, feeling tired, not really spending enough time with your friends, not spending enough time with your family, and having to make so many sacrifices. I don't necessarily think if I were to redo undergrad again, I would make as many sacrifices. I would probably be a little bit more structured with my time, make sure I implement certain things into my schedule to make sure that I am feeling fulfilled and feeling gratified throughout the entire process versus having to put my head down for an extended period of time and just telling myself that it'll all be okay at the end. Thank you if you made it to the end of the video. I hope that my experience can help shed some light and help you maintain some balance as a pre-med student yourself along your journey and understand some of the nuances that go into maintaining happiness along your way. If you made it to the end, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoy these videos. I'll be putting out weekly videos just like this every single week, so make sure you come along for the journey. If you're applying to medical school, taking the MCAT, or you're just trying to survive your pre-med years, you got this. Keep grinding and let's get it.